In this video, we're going to cover off how to use the AGM-88 Charlie HARM missile in position range unknown mode. We're going to do so whilst going one-on-one with an SA-10 site to try and make things a little bit more interesting. I'll talk you through my missile evasion tactics as we go along, and then at the end of the video, we will look at what has happened in TacView both from an offensive and defensive point of view. As always, I'll include an on-screen overlay detailing the hot-ass commands I'm using to help keep things clear. So let's get stuck in. Okay, master arm is on. Air to ground master mode, and then on the right hand MFD we'll switch the power on for the HARM missiles, and we've got 4 in total, 2 on each wing. We'll change this MFD to be the HSD and zoom out so that we've got situational awareness of the SAM site at all times. We'll change the flickers placeholder page to be the weapon page and switch from HAS to position mode, and we're in RUK or range unknown mode by default. Conveniently, the 3 radar types that we need for the SA-10 are on table 1. So we've got the 10, which is the track radar, and that's responsible for guiding the missiles towards us, and that's one of the things that we'll be targeting today. BB is the big bird radar, and that's responsible for the long range search and trying to identify us as we're approaching the target. That will be our secondary target. CS or clamshell is the low altitude acquisition radar, which in this case will leave for a later DAD strike. We can see on the RWR that both the Big Bird and Clamshell are already on our scope. Before we get going, let's just have a quick look at countermeasures. So I'm in manual mode, and I'm going to set this to program 2, which is actually a custom program that I have set up and saved for the F-16. I'll have a video on that in the coming weeks. Essentially for me, this just releases 5 chaff in total on a 0.75 second interval. So we'll continually use that as we go through this attack. Okay, so we've come out of active pause and we'll head off towards the target. We have quite a lot of low cloud today, so it's going to be difficult to gain visual of any missile launches. Okay, we can see that the 10 track radar is now tracking us. And there we go, missile launch. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a series of 20 to 30 degree turns away from the SAM site. And the idea is that we keep our airspeed as high as possible, so we are supersonic at the moment. But we're continually just trying to pull that missile around the sky to drain its energy away. We're currently about 33 miles away from the target, so we are within range of it, but we cannot yet fire. I'll just release some countermeasures. So we need to get down to about 25 miles before we can fire on the SAM site. Okay, missiles are still tracking us. Turn one more time with countermeasures. We'll also lose some altitude to try and gain a bit more speed. We are still supersonic, but I'd like to be going a little quicker if we can, and some more countermeasures. One thing that you need when you're going up against an SA-10 site like this is a lot of patience. If you rush it, you tend to end up dead, which is suboptimal. Some more countermeasures there. Okay, we'll start turning back in towards the target with some more countermeasures. We should have drained a lot of energy off of that missile at this point, so I feel relatively comfortable turning back in. We're at Mach 1.3-ish. So the missile's still tracking us at this point. I don't think that's a new launch. We'll just do some more countermeasures just to make sure. Okay, and we've lost the track of that missile, so we should be okay to turn back in on the target. So I'll just highlight on the heads-up display the symbology that tells us the range. As I say, we need to get down to 25 miles. We've made almost no progress there, but we'll probably take a couple of attempts to try and get close enough to fire our missiles. We're being tracked again. It'll launch again in a moment. Okay, another missile launch, so we'll turn away. More countermeasures. Again, trying to keep our airspeed and altitude up. No chance of visual of the SAM launch with those clouds. Don't feel like you need to over-maneuver in this scenario. Flying in a straight line, countermeasures, and then 20 to 30 degree banks away is the most effective thing to do. The SA-10 missiles tend to fly quite high as well, so you do need to check above, especially when you're around 24,000 feet. They are likely going to be coming down on us. If we do get visual on the missiles, what we'll be looking for is relative motion between ourselves and the missile. So if we can see relative motion, that means that we have defeated it from an energy point of view. Okay, fuel state 3.8, we need to keep an eye on that. Okay, we'll turn back in on the target, I think, momentarily. Just one more set of countermeasures first. Okay, so just on the HARMs in position range unknown mode, we're actually firing at the steer point. And then once the missiles are airborne, they're going to start searching out the targets that we've chosen. So we'll fire 2 missiles off at the track radar, switch over to the Big Bird radar and fire another 2 missiles. Once we've done that, we'll bug out and get out of here as quickly as we can do. Okay, I can actually see those missiles there. We've definitely beat those because we've got relative motion between ourselves and the missiles. So we'll take our 3rd attempt at trying to get close enough. We're currently 29 miles, we need to be 25. However, the SAM site has just launched on us one more time. Let's play a game of chicken and see whether we can get these missiles fired off before we get hit. You can see a large horizontal rectangle on our HUD, so when that starts flashing it means that we are within range. Magnum, Magnum, switch radar, Magnum, Magnum, countermeasures and dive and accelerate away. Okay, so we got all 4 of our missiles off really quick there. We just need to try and get safe as quickly as possible. So we're going to dive down, looking for visual. Again, we're still making those 20 to 30 degree banks away. We're going fast now though. We're at Mach 1.4, approaching Mach 1.5. Constant adjustments. We've only got 10 countermeasures, but we'll use another bunch. There's 5 more gone. We're basically just going to head for the deck. We don't have to worry about our egress route. There's no man pads or anything, of course. We're over the sea, so we're relatively safe from that point of view. Hopefully we should see that track drop off in a moment if we get any impacts from our missiles. Okay, we're almost definitely safe at this point. And actually I've just seen there on the RWR that the Big Bird radar has dropped off our scope, so hopefully that means we've got a hit there. Okay, so that's it from an engagement point of view. Let's jump over to TacView and see what's actually happened. Okay, this is us in our F-16, and over here we have the SA-10 SAM site. You can see we've got the track radar, the clamshell and the Big Bird radar. Then over here we've got, looks like 6 launchers and a command post. Of course we will be attacking the track radar and the Big Bird radar. Okay, going back to the jet then, Let's push forward some time, and you can see here that we've got the first 2 missile launches from the SA-10. They start lofting up and I immediately start turning, so let's see what happens with this engagement. Okay, so we've actually spoofed the first missile quite early on there, so that was with countermeasures. You can see that just turning off there in the distance. The second one tracks us further, but again is spoofed by countermeasures just towards the bottom of that dive. So we probably could have gone offensive a little bit quicker there, so we'll bear that in mind for future runs. Okay, so we'll turn back in on the target. Okay, we're 33 miles away at this point, and then we get another 2 launches there. We go defensive again. Countermeasures, they're heading up to about 27,000 feet and we're at 24. We're doing our turns, and actually it looks like both of those missiles were spoofed by the same countermeasure release there, so that was a really effective defensive choice. The challenge with that is unless you've got a visual of the missiles, you don't necessarily know that it's happened. Okay, here we've turned back in on the target. We're 27 miles away. Looks like we've got another launch at 26 miles. It's a single launch this time, and here we fire off all 4 of our missiles in quick succession. We'll come back and look at that in a moment. Let's just have a quick look at the defense before we do so. So we immediately turn away. There's actually a second launch by the SA-10 site there, although that missile seems to stay low, so I don't know what's happened with that one, but it doesn't stand a chance hitting us. And then this one we're just trying to outrun, so we're Mach 1.5 almost at this point, and the missile is at 1.7. There's basically no chance that that missile is catching us, so we are away and safe. Looking at the offensive play then, so we're heading to the steer point, which is over here. It's about 5 miles away from the SAM site, and we fire off 4 missiles in quick succession, and they're heading towards the steer point, and then once they find their target they should turn off towards the radar that they're tracking. So you can see there the first missile has found its target and it turns off. And then they all do. So they're now all heading off down towards their respective targets. So let's zoom in on the SAM site and we'll watch these missiles come in and see what effect that they've had. Okay, so these on the right are heading towards the track radar, so they're the first 2 that we fired. It looks like they're actually exploding above the ground, so they're not quite making it to their target for some reason. So they're about 300-400 feet above the ground when they explode, so they've had no effect on the track radar, unfortunately. I don't know whether they've been shot down, whether it's a bad missile or whether it's a DCS glitch, but they've clearly had no effect. Looking at the 3rd and 4th missile then, which are going towards the Big Bird radar, they actually have both hit their target and the Big Bird radar has been destroyed. This basically means that the long-range capability of this SA site has been heavily degraded, so that is of course good news. Okay, so overall relatively successful sortie. Shame we didn't take out the track radar, but you can never have a 100% hit rate. And that's it for today's video, so thank you for watching. If you've got any comments or questions, please feel free to leave those down below. If you've enjoyed this content, please feel free to like the video or subscribe to the channel for more in the coming weeks. Okay, see you next time.